Shalom, shalom, Israel. First off, giving all praises to the Most High and His Son Yahushua. Today's class, pride is killing Israel as a nation and family unit. Pride is a deep-rooted disease that is in Israel. Let's start with Romans 15 and 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
For our what?
For our learning.
So we understand that the Bible is a guide. And everything that was written in this Bible was a guide to the Israelites to guide us back to our heritage, to guide us how to be a man, to guide us how to be a woman, to guide us how to raise our children, to guide us in righteousness according to the Most High and the Son. Read on.
That we through patience.
Through what?
Through patience.
That's the problem with a lot of Israel right there. Patience. There's a lot of brews out here that think they got 100% of this truth and have not taken out the time to examine the situation or to fully detail, go into deep study, let the Most High give you the understanding. A lot of brews are not doing that. They just think they got 100% of the truth, and they don't. And then when somebody brings out something different, they challenge it before they even examine it. Some of you brews, man, pride is on you. And like I say, we need to handle that. And you need to be patient and do a deep study on what you bring out. Read out.
And comfort of the scripture.
And comfort of what?
And comfort of the scripture.
As you know that the Bible, it gives us comfort. It brings comfort to us as a whole. So when we read these scriptures and realize that these scriptures are personally talking to us, it brings us comfort to know that we are promised the kingdom. That's right. And it should make you excited to know that all you got to do is come back to obedience. And you'll be able to walk into that kingdom. Read on out.
Might have hope.
Might have what?
Might have hope.
And understand that this Bible gives us hope to life after death. It gives us hope that we will be ruling. We will have rulership. We got next. The hope of this Bible for our people is life, man. And all we asking you to do is come back to it. Now, let's get that letter right quick, God. We're going to read that letter right quick.
This is the letter. Pride. Pride will kill you.
Pride will what?
Pride will kill you.
Physically, mentally, and spiritually. Pride will kill you. Read.
Forever.
For what?
Forever.
Read on.
Pride is the sin most likely to keep you from crying out.
It's the what?
Most likely to keep you from crying out.
Pride keep you from crying out for help. Pride keeps you from apologizing. Pride keeps you from opening up, going to leadership, getting the help that you need. And this is for all camps. The members in your school, pride is keeping them exactly in the same status that they are. When I say status, they're not growing as an Israelite. Read on.
From crying out for a savior. Pride will paint even our ugliness in sin.
In what?
In sin.
Even the ugliest thing about you, pride will make it painted in sin, in deep sin. Read on.
As beautiful and commendable.
The
comfortable moments when I pat myself on the back for how well I am doing are the moments that should alarm me the most.
Boasting in yourself. Read on.
I need to reach for the glasses of Christ like humility. Remembering that nothing good dwells in my flesh.
Nothing what?
Nothing good dwells in my flesh.
So see, and since he knows that the heart is evil, he gave us law, statutes, and commandments. He gave us a rule book to guide us. And as we go through constant practice of doing what this Bible say do, we become better people. Read on.
And search my heart for secret pride.
And search my heart for what?
For secret pride.
We got to search our hearts for that secret pride. We got to break all these elements down. That's right. Because pride is keeping us from getting to where we need to be as the Hebrew man, woman, and child of Israel. Read on.
And its symptom.
And its what?
And its symptom.
Read.
Fault finding. While pride causes us to filter out the evil we see in ourselves.
Fault finding. A lot of brews out there finding fault with another person and how they bring out what they bring out, but they ain't seeking inside themselves. I guess they perfect now. I guess they keeping every law, statutes, and commandments perfectly now. No, brother, we deal with things. A lot of brothers deal with demons that's on them, things in their head. A lot of brothers deal with that. But you look down on your brother, that's pride. Instead of saying, hey, brother, let's get together and check the scriptures out and let's see what kind of agreement we can come to, or maybe you can show me something, or maybe I can learn something from you. Read on.
It also causes us to filter out God's goodness in others.
In what?
In others.
Read on.
We sift them.
We what?
We sift them.
Read.
Letting only their faults find into our perception of them.
So that means you looking at a person and you don't see nothing but the wrong in them, or but the bad in them. But you don't see how you can help them become a better person. You can see how you can help them become a better reader, a better teacher. You know what I'm saying? A better wife, a better husband. You could find the bad in the person and help to turn it into a strength. You find that weakness and you help them and you pray for their weakness to be strengthened. But instead of doing that, you find the fault in them and you harp on it. Read on.
The spiritually proud person shows its findings fault with other saints. A harsh spirit. Those who have the sickness of pride.
Of what?
Of pride.
Read.
In their hearts speak of others with contempt.
With what?
With contempt.
Talking down on other people, man. A harsh spirit. Speaking down to everybody you see like you are high above another person. We are at the bottom and another nation is on the top of us. So we got to make sure that we help and build one another up. Doing what thus says the Lord in our life and our walk. Being the example to help a person be a better person. But we don't have that. We have brothers out here that do more scoffing than the scoffer out on the street who don't know who they are, man. Read.
Irritation.
What?
Irritation.
Read.
Frustration or judgment. Pride is crouching inside or belittling of the struggles of others.
Man, read on.
Superficiality. When pride lives in our minds, we far more concerned with others' perception of us than the reality of our minds.
That happens with some of our people. They worried about what everybody else thinks. So they try to help themselves stand out in the crowd and be that person that everybody just loves and never talks about. It's not gonna happen. There's wicked folks out here. They're gonna say stuff about you. They're gonna talk about you. They're gonna throw plenty books and bricks at you. You gotta be who you are, a child of the Most High.
That's right.
Fight through it and keep on pushing. Read on.
Presumption before God. If either the humble or the assurance are missing in the equation, our minds very well might be infected with pride.
With what?
With pride.
So if you have a problem being humble, you might have that issue with pride. Read on.
Some of us have no shortage of boldness before God.
Man, read.
But if we're not careful, we cannot forget that He is God.
What?
We cannot forget that He is God.
Read.
We doubt the power of Christ. We doubt the power of Christ's blood and we're stuck staring at ourselves instead of Christ.
And we're going to go into explaining that deeper into the class. But when it says you doubt, because when you have pride on you, you in sin. So that means you are in doubt about Christ and what He died for and the example He left for the people to follow. Read on.
Desperation for attention.
Desperation for what?
Desperation for attention.
That's what half of these Hebrews got a problem with. They got to have all the attention. They got to be the one that's deepest in the scripture. They got to be the best teacher on the block. Got 4 or 5 readers. They got to be the one, but that's the main one that's in sin. The one that's throwing the book at the other one is probably the one that's in sin. The one that's not doing what thus says the Lord in His walk. But guess what? He got the deep spirituality of every parable in the Bible. Don't get it twisted, man. You can always learn something from another brew. Read on.
Pride is hungry for attention.
Pride is what?
Pride is hungry for attention.
You got to look at that. Look at that in the relationships and how they go on. A lot of the women in their relationship, they hungry for attention. And guess what? The husband can be giving them attention, but they want more. And vice versa the situation. Read on.
Respect.
What?
Respect.
Read.
And worship in all its forms.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's being unable to say no to anyone because we need to be needed.
We need to be what?
We need to be needed.
That's how a lot of people feel. That's how come a lot of people are falling short of the glory in this walk. Because if they don't have that feeling of needing to be needed, then they don't feel like they are part. So they move around. So they backpedal slowly, and next thing you know, they're gone. Because they want attention. They have to constantly be in the mix. It shouldn't have to be like that. All of us should be examining ourselves to make sure we're walking in the faith, to make sure we're keeping the commandments. All of us should be examining ourselves, making sure and getting ourselves together so we can walk into the kingdom. That's the most important thing. I don't need your attention. I don't need your pat on the back. This is something that the Most High gave us to do. We either do it and live or we don't do it and die. Read on out.
All because you seek the glory that comes from men, not God.
Not what?
Not God.
See, that's what I mean. You seek the glory of men and not of the Most High. That goes on in the family unit. That goes on in the Israelite world. Read on.
Neglecting others. Pride prefers some people over others.
Read.
Maybe more of us struggle with pride than we thought.
A lot of us struggle with pride. A lot of us do. But you can check that pride at the door. Because the Most High gives you the understanding of being a prideful person in the Bible. Read.
There's good news from the prideful.
Uh-huh.
Confession of pride signals the beginning of the end for pride.
Confessing that you have it on you is the first step of getting it off you. Read.
It indicates the war is already being waged.
Read.
For only when the Spirit of God is moving.
Is what?
Is moving.
Read.
Already humbling us. Can we remove the lenses of pride from our eyes and see ourselves clearly?
Can we do that? Israel. That's what the Most High is trying to get us to do as a nation, as a people, and as a family unit. These are the things that we're trying to get together here. Is that the end on that? Read it out.
Identifying the sickness and seeking the cure. By God's grace, we can turn once again to the glorious gospel in which we stand and make much of Him, even through identifying our pride in all its hiding places inside of us.
Understand that, Israel. We got to come on with it. We got to come out of this. We got to cure this disease called pride. Now, I'm going to show you something. The Most High deals with us. He gives us commandments. And some of us are failing to keep those commandments and probably don't even understand how or why. Let's start with Mark 12 and 28 right quick. Let me get there with you out. Because this is the thing. You have to admit you have pride on you, and then you have to delegate through the scriptures to shut pride down. Read that out.
To the book of St. Mark, chapter 12 and verse 28.
Read.
And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, perceiving that he answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? So
they come into Christ, trying to catch him up in his words. He gave them a good answer, so they going to keep asking him question after question after question. Let's see what Christ said. Read.
And Yahweh answered him, the first of all the commandments is, hear, O Israel.
Hear, O Israel. Hear, understand, listen, read.
The Lord our God is one Lord.
Read on.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul,
read,
and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment.
So we understand that we must love God with everything we got. Because that's most important, is loving the Most High Yahweh. Right. Now, how do we do this thing? Give me 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God.
Read.
That we keep his commandments.
So we have to understand that we have to keep God's commandments. When he say love him with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, he's telling you, keep God's commandments. Die trying to keep these commandments. Strive in this truth until death, man. Read on.
And his commandments are not grievous.
And what he commands us to do is not hard for us to do. But I'm going to show you something. How pride can be that disease. Let's go back. Mark 12 and 31.
The book of St. Mark, chapter 12 and verse 31.
Read.
And the second is life, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
He said we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. So we're supposed to love our people as ourselves. Read.
There is none other commandment greater than these.
He said there is no other commandment greater than these. How do we love our neighbor as ourselves? Let's get Leviticus 19 and 17 right quick. How do we actually love our neighbor as ourselves? Read that when you get there.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17.
Read.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
And that's how you know a lot of these brews out here hate one another. Because they, instead of them, read on out, let me show you.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
You're supposed to correct your neighbor when you see your neighbor in sin or when you see something going on wrong with them. But half of these brews hate you. They want to sit on top and sit on top of the pile. So as soon as they find one little thing, they jump on it. Sometimes you jump on a hot plate because you haven't examined your situation. You haven't examined the scriptures, and you end up being wrong. That's why I say pride brings forth shame. Because in your pride, you didn't think to do the examination you need to do. Read on out.
And not suffer sin upon him.
And not do what?
And not suffer sin upon him.
So what do? We help our people to not sin. And we don't suffer the sin that's upon him because we help them. We trying to help them open their eyes. Now, if they take it or not, that's up to them. But you can't be a prideful brother and not do the job that you're supposed to do unto your neighbor. Now let's go to read Mark 12 and 31 one more time. Okay, I got you. I want you to grab that for me before I go where I'm going.
The book of St. Mark, chapter 12 and verse 31. And the second is life, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. Read.
There is none other commandment greater than these.
There is no other commandment greater than these two commandments. But all these commandments set up the whole law.
That's right.
That's what they don't understand. Romans 13 and 8 right quick.
The book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 8.
Read.
Owe no man anything, but to love one another.
But to do what?
But to love one another.
We have to love one another if we expect to make it to the kingdom in this walk. Read.
For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law.
He had what?
Hath fulfilled the law.
Because if you love your brother as you love yourself, you're teaching him to stay out of sin. So you fulfill the law because we teaching our people how to come out of sin. Read on.
For this thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not what?
Commit adultery.
That's a sin. Read.
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not murder thy brother. Read.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou
shalt not bear false witness.
Read.
Thou shalt not covet.
Uh-huh.
And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
And that's going on in the household of the marriage, of the marriage. They not loving the other as they love themselves. In the marriage, they love themselves more than they love their mate. And what is that? That's pride. So we got to work on ourselves as being a unit and being a family. Even in Israel, in the home, it goes vice versa both ways. Read on.
Love worketh no ill to his neighbor.
Love does what?
Worketh no ill to his neighbor.
So I'm going to show you something. When a man is trying to guide his household in the right direction, if that woman loved her husband, she will get up go back and search the scriptures and see that she's supposed to be in obedience. If he's following the law, you're supposed to be following him. Read on.
Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
Love is going to be the fulfilling of the law, because we are supposed to be the example of how you're supposed to keep the commandments. And if we love our brother, we're going to help our brother to keep the commandments too. Read.
And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake.
To what?
To awake.
Read.
Out of sleep.
It's time for us to wake up, Israel, and become one. One nation. One nation. Read.
For now is our salvation nearer than we believe.
As our salvation continues to come closer and closer to bringing us back together, we should be getting together, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, families. We should be trying to gel together, because this is a commandment from the Most High. Read on.
The night is far spent. The day is at hand.
Read.
Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness.
Let us do what?
Cast off the works of darkness.
We have to cast off pride in order to walk in the realization of what God has for us. If we don't do this, that family unit is not going to make it. Israel is not going to make it. A lot of us going to die because we got pride on us. Read.
And let us put on the armor of light.
The what?
The armor of light.
We got to put on the armor of light. We got to put on these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Let us walk honestly, as in the day. Not in rioting or drunkenness.
Not in what?
Not in rioting or drunkenness.
Not in the ways of this world, because that's how the world walks. Read.
Not in chambering and wantonness. Not in strife and envying.
In what?
In envying.
That's a main part of pride right there. Envying. You envy your brother. You hate your brother so much that you stir up strife. Read.
But put ye on the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach.
Put on the Lord Yahushua, man. Read.
And make not provision for the flesh.
And don't make no provision for your own flesh, because when you do that, you're in a prideful state of mind. See, this is one of those things that pride is one of those words that go 3-4 fold. You can have pride on you in 3-4 different ways. You got to kill them all, though. Read.
To fulfill the lust thereof.
You're not supposed to be trying to fulfill the lust of your flesh. You want to be a deep precept king? Study to show yourself approved. Be a helper to your brother. Don't sit up and knock your brothers down and think that you got everything under control. I've seen it happen. I've seen brothers think that they smarter than everybody and get broken down to the last degree. Sometimes, Israel, we need to help one another instead of shutting one another out and downing one another. Now, give me Ephesians 5:15 right quick. Let me get there with you. I want y'all to understand something. This ain't about being a precept king. This is about us coming back as a family together and getting the understanding together. Read.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 15.
Read.
See then that ye walk circumspectly.
Circumspectly. Watchful or attentive. See that you walk watchful or attentive. Read.
Not as fools.
Not as what?
Not as fools.
Read.
But as wise.
But as wise men, women, and children of the Most High, man. So he's saying walk carefully. Read.
Remembering, redeeming the time. Because the days are evil.
These days today are very evil, man. We coming out telling everybody that we are God's chosen children, that we are the kings and princesses of the earth. They hate us for that. So guess what? We got to unify in order to be that strong nation that we're supposed to be, all under the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. This is the only way we're going to be able to fight off the things that are going to come upon us. But now you got brothers that will turn your back on you because they won't dap you up. They won't speak to you because if you ain't with them, you ain't in the truth. You got brothers that won't dap you up and won't speak to you because they on a different moon than you are. I'm not going to come in here and tell now brother not to talk to his brew, man. I'm not worried about what doctrine he on. Dap your brew up. Show your brew some love, man. Let him know we all brews out here fighting this good fight. To those brews that's out there every Sabbath, do your thing, man. Yahushua gonna sort them out. Read on.
Wherefore, Be ye not unwise.
Be ye not unwise. Read.
But understanding.
But what?
But understanding.
Read on.
What the will of the Lord is.
We got to understand what the will of the Lord is. And we're going to get into that. Read on out.
And be not drunk with wine. Wherein is excess. But be filled with the Spirit.
But be filled with these laws, man. Read.
Speaking to yourselves in songs.
In psalms, in prayers, in good words. Read.
And hymns. And spiritual songs.
Spiritual songs. Read on.
Singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord.
In your mind to the Lord. Singing and making melody. Understand. Be happy. Because the reason we in this situation, because we didn't keep these commandments with joyfulness and happiness and gladness of heart. So we got to come back into where we come from. Read on.
Giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Yahushua.
Read on.
Submitting yourselves one to another.
We got to be submitting ourselves one to another. Read.
In the fear of God.
In the fear of who?
In the fear of God.
A lot of us don't fear God. We so busy standing on our pedestal, we don't fear the Most High. We missing out on some of the commandments that we're supposed to be keeping. Give me Zephaniah 2:1 right quick. Get there with you. Go ahead.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Do what?
Gather yourselves together.
This is a commandment from the Lord. Pride is keeping us from gathering together. Pride is keeping us from coming together as one nation. Read.
Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
Is not the Hebrews a whole nation that's not desired here? Not just here, not just in America, but throughout the four corners of the earth. We are not desired. So we're supposed to be coming back together. Because when you divide something, you divide to conquer them.
That's right.
So how are we not to be conquered? We ought to come together. Read on.
Before
that was the end of verse 1. Give me Joel 2 and 12 right quick. Let's get it, Israel. I'm trying to see. Is your pride gonna stick with you too hard to do right by the Lord? Read that out.
Book of Joel, chapter 2 and verse 12. Therefore also now, saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart.
With what?
With all your heart.
He said turn to him with all your mind. So if he's telling us to gather together, that's what we should be doing. Because if you turn into him with all your mind, that means you coming back to the Lord. That means you're going to come back to keeping his commandments the way you're supposed to keep them. Read.
And with fasting. And with weeping.
Read.
And with mourning. And rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God.
And do what?
And turn unto the Lord your God.
When we turning unto the Lord, we turning all the way back to his commandments. And a lot of reasons Israel can't get along because they won't sit down and go through these scriptures. Read.
For he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger.
Read.
And great kindness, and repented him of the evil.
Read on.
Who knoweth if he will return and repent?
Who knoweth if he will return or repent? Read.
And leave blessing behind him.
Read.
Even a meat offering and a drink offering.
Who is going to turn back to the Lord? Who is going to do what thus says the Lord in their life and in their walk? Who is going to come on with it, man? Read.
Unto the Lord your God. Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sanctify a fast.
He said, sanctify a fast. He's telling us to come together. Blow the trumpet in Zion. That's not talking about Judah or just Benjamin or just the northern kingdom. That's talking about all 12 tribes. Read on.
Call a solemn assembly. Gather the people.
Do what?
Gather the people.
Read.
Sanctify the congregation.
How do you sanctify the congregation? You wash them with the washing of the water by the word. Read.
Assemble the elders. Gather the children. And those that suck the breast.
He said gather the babies too, man. Read.
Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber. And the bride out of her closet.
Come on, man. Read on.
Let the priest, the minister of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar. And let them say, spare thy people.
Do what?
Spare thy people.
Man, that's all we try to do is get together. He said gather all the tribes of Jacob together as from the beginning. and inherit thou them. How is he going to inherit us when we out here acting like we the million-man march? When we all out here got different spirits on us, different idolatries on us, different religions on us, and not these laws, man. Read.
O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach.
To what?
To reproach.
Read on.
That the heathen should rule over them.
We tired of the heathen ruling over us, right? We tired of the heathen running our life, man. We tired of the heathen breaking our backs, man. Got arthritis in our knees, our feet hurt, back hurt, the television raising our children. We tired of this, right? Well, how come you can't put your pride to the side? Read on.
Wherefore should they say among the people,
where
is their God?
Where is what?
Where is their God?
I'm tired of them saying, where is our God? I'm tired of them saying that. We got to come out of sin. We all know Hosea 5:15. So we need to come back to the Most High wholeheartedly. That's right. Wholeheartedly means this disease called pride got to go. That's the only way we're going to come together, man. That's the only way we're going to do right by the Lord. Give me, what we at, Zephaniah 2:1? 2 and 2? All right. Yeah.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
Read.
Before the decree bring forth.
Before the what?
Before the decree bring forth.
What is that decree? That decree is this world is going to be destroyed with nuclear fire. And if you ain't in order, you're going to die. Read.
Before the day pass as the chaff. Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. Before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
Before the day of the Lord's destruction of this earth come upon us, we need to be getting it right, Israel. Read.
Seek ye the Lord.
Do what?
Seek ye the Lord.
Man, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. Read.
All ye meek of the earth. Which have wrought his judgment.
Read.
Seek righteousness.
Do what?
Seek righteousness.
Read.
Seek meekness.
Seek that meekness and that righteousness, my brothers and sisters. Read.
It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger.
And how do we be hid in the day of his anger? Didn't he say he gonna have us under his wings? That's these laws, statutes, and commandments. Through this protection, we good. But we can't be good hating one another. The family unit. We can't be good if the house is not in order. These things need to happen. These things need to change. Now let me show you something, man. Give me Ephesians 5:22 right quick.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 22.
Get there, all right? Move fast over there, boy. I'm saying that's what some reading boys practicing. Read on, huh?
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 22.
Wives,
submit yourselves unto your own husband.
That's a problem. A wife is the wives are prideful also. Wives, you got to submit yourself to your husband, especially if he walking in this truth. If you not submitting yourself to your husband and barking against the grain against him and he trying to get his house in order, you hindering y'all blessings. You hindering y'all prayer. Read on out.
As unto the Lord. For the husband.
The what?
For the husband.
Read.
Is the head of the wife. Even as Christ is the head of the church.
So if that house is out of order, if that wife is running the home, if that wife is doing things the way she want to do and not the way the Most High say, guess what? That home is out of order. That's pride on the wife. As vice versa, the husband also. If he's not handling his business as a man of the Most High God, he's out of order. As long as that house is out of order, everything's going to fall. Read.
And he is the Savior of the body.
Read on.
There is therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be unto their own husband in everything.
In what?
In everything.
No, just something.
In everything.
If that husband is trying to get his house in order, and I mean get his house in order, and I'm going to give you an example. My boys can't walk around my house without no fringes on. I have 4 boys and 2 girls. My girls can't come in my house without no dress on. That's just what that is. And if and it's not gonna change because it's God's way or the highway.
That's right.
See, a lot of us still doing Let me show you something. Give me Jeremiah 2:33 right quick. Let me show you something. This is what's happening in the household today. And this is why the households are not coming together. Read that for me.
The book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 33.
Read.
Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love?
That's what a lot of what's going on. A lot of these parents are trimming their ways for their children. They trimming their way for their husband. They trimming their way for their wife. You know what? I'm not trimming back the Most High God ways for nobody. My wife don't want to wear a dress. My wife can find somewhere else to stay. My children don't want to wear dresses or wear fringes around the house. They can find somewhere to go. I'm not playing no games with none of them. It's God's way. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord.
That's right.
And that's just the way it is. Now, a lot of people fight against what God got going with the men. But the man, I'm going to show you that too. Read on out.
Therefore, hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways.
Because if you're not following these commandments, you're teaching the ones that's outside that it's okay not to keep the commandments. That's not cool. So when you do that, you trim your ways back just to seek love from another. You dwelling in selfishness. That selfishness is prideful. I'm showing you something, man. There's no way you're going to make your household work with pride in that house. There's no way Israel going to come back together with pride on them. It's not going to happen. Give me 1 Corinthians 11 and 3.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 3.
Uh-huh.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
Uh-huh.
And the head of the woman is the man.
They forget this in the household. When they forget this, their houses go out of whack. And I'm going to show you something. A lot of women are fighting because they so used to running the house that they have a hard time changing their position back to the where it's supposed to be. With the husband in the head. And the wife is following her husband. And the children following the wife, because the wife is bringing the household laws down from the husband. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a lot of this stuff, it causes a big fight of turmoil because the sister can't control herself because she's so used to running the show. Now that she can't run the show, she ready to leave. She ready to burn out because she can't run the house. That's pride, sister. That's pride on you. You need to change your ways. Come back to the Most High. Let your husband get that house in order and watch how things get smooth. When my wife seen what I was doing and researched what I was doing, she got on board. At my house, it had that trickle down effect. Now I had to watch some of my children walk out that door. That's fine with me. They got to go see how the world gonna treat them. That's right. And they'll realize that Daddy's on the right path. Daddy told me to do the right thing. Because now you out here looking dressed like a slut with tights on, walking down the street. Somebody hit you upside your head and rape you. That don't have to be done if you just keep God's law. My sister cannot come in my house. My sister is a lesbian. She can't come through my front door. Said if they come not preaching another gospel, don't let them into your house. You can't come into my house with that spirit on you. That's just the way it is. When you decide to change your ways to the Most High, welcome. But until then, I got to talk to you outside. Read on out.
And the head of Christ is God.
Uh-huh.
Every man praying or prophesying.
No, that's it. I just want you to understand when the order of the house is out of order, your house going to fall. And a lot of times, I'm going to show you something. Some brothers got some issues too with running their household. Sitting around playing game, wife taking care of the house. You know, brother, you prideful. You in your pride. You're also weak and effeminate. But if you got a man that's out there going to work every day, paying all the bills, making sure his food on the table, and I ain't gonna lie, this day and age, it can't be a one working household. Not with us. Not with Israel. Now, if that brother's going out breaking his neck to take care of business, you need to get behind that brother. Especially if he referred to this Bible every time y'all have an issue or a problem. Because if he's doing that, he's trying to follow the Most High. And if you rebuttaling against that, you hindering y'all prayer, you hindering y'all relationship, and things will never come together until you examine yourself and check your ways. Let's get back to Ephesians.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 25.
Husband,
read. Love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church.
As Christ did what?
Also loved the church.
Read on.
And gave himself for it.
And died for the church. So you got to kill that old nigga spirit life that you living. You got to get out your pride and change your ways and love your wife just like Christ loved that church. It say, he who findeth his life shall lose it. But he who findeth his life for my sake, for his name's sake, you shall find it. So you got to be living the way the Most High wants you to live. Read on.
That he may sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word.
That he may cleanse it. And that's what I'm going to show you something. If your husband is bringing these scriptures to you every time you get out of line and do something, he's trying to wash and cleanse you. He's trying to cleanse you. And I'm going to show you what he's trying to do. Read on.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church.
Read on.
Not having spot.
Not having a spot. Read.
Or wrinkle.
Read.
Or any such thing. But that it should be holy and without blemish.
He's trying to clean you up so you can be the woman of God you're supposed to be. So when you fighting against that in your pride, you killing yourself. Because guess what? Ain't no wicked women walking into the kingdom. Ain't no weak, effeminate men walking into the kingdom. So if both of y'all gonna live with that pride on y'all, enjoy the lake of fire. Read on.
So ought men to love their wives as their own body.
As their what?
As their own body.
Read.
He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
Man, if you love your wife, you love yourself. So the things that you go through, she's not going to go through because you're going to make sure she all right. Read on.
For no man ever hated his own flesh, but nourished it and cherished it.
Read.
Even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bone. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother.
Read.
And shall be joined unto his wife. And they two shall be one flesh.
Be what?
Be one flesh.
That's what's happening. When y'all become one flesh, if one person is off and one person is on, y'all blessings and y'all prayers are not one flesh as your marriage is. So the Most High is not dealing with that. So y'all got to get it together. Read on.
This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself. And the wife see the reverence.
Read that again.
And the wife see that she the reverence her husband.
See that she reverence her husband. So it is commanded that the husband love his wife. And it is commanded that the wife respect her husband.
That's right.
That's what reverence is. See that she respect him. If you being disrespectful to your husband and he walking in the ways of the Lord, that's your pride making you act like that. And you bringing death upon yourself. And I'm going to show you something. If you want the Most High, it ain't about y'all no more. Y'all already done jumped that broom. Y'all together. If it's about the Most High, then you're going to do what the Most High say do in order to make that work. That's just it. That's all. Now, give me Sirach 10 and 7 right quick. Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 7. Pride is hateful.
Pride is what?
Pride is hateful.
Having pride on you is hateful. Read.
Before God and man. And by both doeth one commit iniquity.
He said by both does one commit iniquity, does one commit sin. So he said, read it again from the top.
Pride is hateful.
Pride is hateful. Read.
Before God and man. And by both doeth one commit iniquity.
By both does one commit sin. Understand what's going on. Pride is not a good thing to have in your house. Drop down to verse 12.
Verse 12. The beginning of pride is when one departed from God.
So when you If you in your pride, you're not even dealing with God. So a lot of times when you bruise out there commenting on other people's classes, telling them they ain't got the truth, they going off. When you comment on other people's classes and you ain't researched yourself, you in your pride.
That's right.
So you just departed from God too. Think about that before you speak on somebody else. That's right. Read on.
And his heart is turned away from his maker.
And your mind is turned away from your Lord because you in your pride. Read.
For pride is the beginning of sin.
For pride is what?
Is the beginning of sin.
So having that pride on you puts you in sin. Read on.
And he that hate it shall pour out abomination.
He that hath it shall do what?
Shall pour out abomination.
That's what happens when you pour out abomination. You pour out a wicked judgment. Read on.
And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamity. And overthrew them utterly.
So understand, when you out there putting your mouth on other people not knowing what's going on, guess what? You destroying your own self. You destroying your own camp. Watch your camp fall apart. Because guess what? A lot of these camps out here don't even have order. But we live by order. But guess what? Still love the fact that y'all out there every Sabbath doing the work. And if we have a disagreement with something that y'all have going on, we'll give you a call. That's right. I'm not gonna get the passing judgments on your classes. I'm not gonna get the passing judgments on in your inbox. We gonna talk. That's what we're supposed to do as brothers. Am I right? Instead, if he got a problem with his brother, let him go to his brother, right? If y'all going by the scriptures, but that's that pride to keep you from doing that. Give me Proverbs 8:13 right quick. Go ahead.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 8 and verse 13. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
Is to what?
Is to hate evil.
God hate evil, man. And if you fear the Most High, you're going to hate evil too. Read.
Pride and arrogancy.
And what?
And arrogancy.
Read.
And the evil way.
And the what?
And the evil way.
He said pride, man. And arrogancy and the evil way. So understand something. Read on out.
And a forward mouth do I hate.
The Most High God hate pride. So when you have that up on you, you have just departed from your God. Now you in sin. Now you headed for that lake of fire. So these are things that we need to get up off of us. Give me Proverbs 16 and 5. Let's deal with this pride.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 5.
Read.
Everyone that is proud in heart.
In mind, read.
Is an abomination.
Is a what?
Is an abomination.
Read.
To the Lord. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished.
So just because you in your pride and you in the midst of the congregation, you still gonna get that punishment. No matter where you run and what you go to, you still gonna get the same punishment because you in your pride. You can be in here going to war, you can be going out on the Sabbath teaching, but pride on you, you still gonna die to death. Read. Oh, they'll finish that one. No, read on out.
By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged.
By Christ and these laws, iniquity is purged. Sin is put away from you. Because if you following Christ, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, that's how you get sin off of you. Read.
And by the fear of the Lord,
which a lot of us don't have, we don't fear the Lord. A lot of us done got to the point of where we so knowledgeable now that we don't fear God and his judgments. Because you start to pass judgments in your pride on others. Read.
Men depart from evil.
Men do what?
Men depart from evil.
So by the fear of the Lord, you depart from evil. So once you depart from evil, that means you're not doing wickedness like speaking down on your own brother. That means you don't have pride on you. That means when somebody brings something out, because I'm going to be honest with you, I watch a few different camps just to watch, see what's coming out, see what they're dealing with. I don't just assume what they're dealing with is wrong. I go and I research what I hear. That's the way you do that. But some of y'all are so outspoken, you know more than everybody else. You got 100% of the truth. You want to open your mouth up. But then that's what happens. That's how pride brings forth shame. Because you end up, it makes you look stupid when you realize you're wrong. You finish it out? Let's go to 8 and 13.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 8 and verse 13. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
Is to what?
Is to hate evil.
Read.
Pride and arrogancy and the evil way.
Pride and arrogancy. Now, we understand the Most High is not dealing with these things. Give me 1 Samuel 2 and 3. Show you what these brothers really be dealing with. That's why you have to examine your steps that you take in this walk. That's why you have to very examine them close, because guess what? I'm going to let you hear it for yourself. Read that out.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 3. Talk no more exceedingly proudly.
Don't talk so proud, thinking that you know everything. Read.
Let no arrogancy come out of your mouth.
Don't be arrogant in your speech, acting like you know everything. Read.
For the Lord is a God of knowledge.
Is a God of what?
Is a God of knowledge.
Is a God of knowledge. The law, statutes, and commandments are knowledge to the Hebrew. Read.
And by him, actions are weighed.
What is weighed?
Actions are weighed.
So when you act out of pride, what did he say?
Actions are weighed.
He weighs your action. He can see that pride on you. He'll break you all the way down to the ground. That's what these brothers fail to realize, man. Your actions are being weighed in everything that you're doing. You need to get yourself together, man. Give me Proverbs 11 and start at verse 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 1. A false balance.
A what?
A false balance.
Because you can't have 1 foot in this truth and 1 foot out this truth. You can't have all the knowledge of the Bible and have pride on you. Read.
Is abomination.
Is a what?
Is abomination.
Read.
To the Lord. But a just weight.
But a what?
But a just weight.
That's why it takes constant examination. You got to have a nice balance. You got to be a well-rounded Israelite. So you got to be examining yourself on all scales. You got to be mentally, physically, and spiritually stable. All these things got to be on the same level. Read.
Is his delight. When pride cometh.
When pride cometh, read.
Then cometh shame.
Then cometh what?
Then cometh shame.
Then comes that shame. Because your pride came upon you. Read.
But with the lowly is wisdom.
Is what?
Is wisdom.
When you are humble, there comes wisdom. Read on.
The integrity of the upright shall guide them. But the perverseness of transgressors.
But the what?
But the perverseness of transgressors.
But the deceitful man, read.
Shall destroy them.
Shall what?
Shall destroy them.
That the deceitfulness of sinners shall destroy them. Understand that, Israel. Let's go to Proverbs 16 and 5. I mean, if you're dealing with pride, Proverbs is the book for you. If that's something that's one of your weaknesses and you admit that, then you can actually change things for yourself. Skip 5, go to verse 18.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 18.
Pride
goeth before destruction.
Pride does what?
Goeth before destruction.
So watch how you handle yourself. Because God weigh out them actions and catch that pride on you. Look later on down the line for that destruction that's going to come up on you. Read.
And a haughty spirit.
And a what?
And a haughty spirit.
Read.
Before a fall.
Before the stumbling. See, when you haughty in your spirit, when you got pride on you, it's destruction forming and it's coming. One thing you can't do is you can't stop the word of God from coming to pass. None of us can. That's why I always say it takes self-examination to make sure you're walking in the faith, to make sure you're being a well-rounded Israelite. Because you got to be doing what? Examining yourself. A lot of y'all spend so much time examining everybody else and have not examined your own self, man. You out of order, but you trying to get everybody else in order. It don't work like that. That's why before you can come out and teach the people in the street, you got to make sure your house is in order. You got to make sure you're providing that example that you're supposed to provide. So when people see you, they see what you preach. They see you practicing what you preach. Read on out.
Better it is to be of a humble spirit.
Better it is to be humble in your spirit, read.
With the lowly. Than to divide the spoil with the proud.
Man, all praise to the Most High. We got to get an understanding of these scriptures. Start checking ourselves, man. Let's get Sirach 22 and 22 right quick.
The book of Sirach, chapter 22, verse 22.
Uh-huh.
If thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, fear not.
Do what?
Fear not.
Read.
For there may be a reconciliation.
A what?
A reconciliation.
He said there may be a reconciliation if you open your mouth against your friend. Y'all can get that taken care of. Read on.
Except for upbraiding, or pride.
Or what?
Or pride.
Understand, pride is the destruction of many things. It's a destruction of the family unit. It's a destruction of us as a nation. It's a destruction between a man and his friend. Read.
Or disclosing of secrets. Or a treacherous wound.
These are the things that pride, these are the actions that come from pride. Read.
For these things, every friend will depart.
Every friend will what?
Will depart.
That's why we can't come together as a family. Because pride is on a lot of our brothers and sisters out here. So they having a hard time getting their family to come together and work. We having a hard time getting the nations to come together and work. Some of us are not at peace and we in the same building of worship. That's a problem in Israel. These are the things that we need to break away from. Now, let me show you something else right quick. Give me Sirach 6 and 7. 6 and 7, yeah.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 7.
Read.
If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
Do what?
Prove him first.
See, a lot of y'all ain't took out the time to prove your brother or your sister. A lot of y'all ain't took out the time to even see what type of person this is you're dealing with before you put your mouth on them, speak bad against them, throw them under the bus, speak contempt in them. You haven't even became friends with the person to even try that friend. Read.
And be not hasty to credit him.
And be not what?
Hasty to credit him.
You can't be so hasty to credit friends. That's what's going on with a lot of these marriages today. Y'all credited them already in the lust of your eye. Now you're dealing with a demon in the house. Read.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion.
For his what?
For his own occasion.
Some men's a friend just because it's benefiting them. Read.
And will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
So when you're going through something, you won't even see this friend. I'm going to show you that happened a lot with me. I'm going to show you right now. All the brothers that's in this building with me, that's my brothers, they my friends and my family. I didn't hang with none of these brothers when I was in the street. When I was out here in the world, none of these brothers were cool with me. We ain't kicking together. But all the brothers that I was street brothers with, haven't seen or heard from. Read on, huh?
And there is a good friend who being turned to enmity.
Who being turned to what?
Enmity.
Read.
And strife. Will discover thy reproach.
Will do what?
Will discover thy reproach.
Will discover thy shame. Read.
Again, some friend is a companion at the table.
Some friends, they companions while they sitting right there with you. Read.
And will not continue in the day of thy affliction.
But when you going through something, they gonna leave. While you got money, that happens to a lot of us. While you got money, friends all around you, kicking it with you, helping you spend your money. When you go broke, can't find nobody helping you pay your rent, can you? Can't find nobody help you move.
That's right.
Come on now. Understand that, Israel. We have not proved these brothers as friends yet. We ain't even got around each other to even try to work with one another to see if we are friends. We know one thing, that we are family. But we supposed to be closer than that, Israel. Read on.
But in thy prosperity, he will be as thyself.
Read on.
And will be bold over thy servants. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee. And will hide himself from thy face.
Read.
Separate thyself from thine enemies.
Separate yourself from the enemies, not your family. We're supposed to separate ourselves from these other nations. We're not supposed to be separate between one another. Read on.
And take heed of thy friend. A faithful friend is a strong defense.
Read.
And he that had found such, and one had found a treasure.
That's found a what?
A treasure.
How do you even know that we not the treasure that you're trying to find when you already passed judgment in your pride on us? Same thing going with the family unit. How do you know? These are things we need to think about, Israel. We got to come together as a family unit and do what thus says the Lord in our life and in our walk, man. Proverbs 27 and 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 1.
Boast not thyself of tomorrow.
He said, don't boast in yourself. Read.
For thou knowest not what a day may bring forth.
Read. Don't be boasting about what you're going to do tomorrow, because you don't know what's going to happen to you today. See, that's what's wrong with our brethren. Read.
Let another man praise thee.
Let a what?
Let another man praise thee.
Read on.
And not thine own mouth.
Don't be praising yourself. Man, I got them precepts. Man, I'm the best teacher in Israel. Man, I know how to break this and that down.
That's good.
Read.
A stranger and not thine own lips.
Don't be boasting in yourself, speaking highly of yourself. Let it come from someone else. Because people tell me all the time, hey, bro, I like this, I like that. Hey, bro, so-and-so this, so-and-so that. Guess what I say? All praises to the Most High and His Son. Thank them for whatever you got from me. Because they using me. I'm just a vessel. That's it on that. Go to Sirach 10 and 27.
The book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 27. Better is he that laboreth and abounded in all things.
Read.
Than he that boasted himself.
Than he that what?
Than he that boasted himself.
Read.
And wanted bread.
And what?
And wanted bread.
Boasting in yourself, but guess what? You still don't have the bread of life in you. You still don't have these laws, statutes, and commandments. You still don't have the full understanding of the word. So stop boasting in yourself. Let's go to Galatians 6 and 1 right quick. Dealing with these super Hebrews, these super brews, they know everything.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in fault, ye which are spiritual.
Ye which are what?
Ye which are spiritual.
That's supposed to be the Israelites. He said, if a brother has been overtaken in a fault, ye that are spiritual, read.
Restore such an one in the spirit of meekness.
You're supposed to be trying to restore your brothers, help your brothers, love your brothers, bring your brothers together. Brotherly love, man. Read on.
Considering thyself.
Doing what?
Considering thyself.
Read.
Lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burden.
Do what?
Bear ye one another's burden.
No, look down on your brother.
Bear ye one another's burden.
No, leave your brother hanging in the cut.
Bear ye one another's burden.
We're supposed to bear one another's burden, bro. Read.
And so fulfill the law of Christ.
Read on.
For a man think himself to be something.
A lot of these brothers think they self to be something. Read.
When he is nothing.
When he is what?
When he is nothing.
When he is not a thing, man. Read.
He deceiveth himself.
And is deceived by his own self. Give me Sirach 3 and 24. Let me get there with you. Understand this. Read that out.
The book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 24.
Read. Start at 23.
Verse 23. Be not curious in unnecessary matters.
Be not curious in unnecessary matters that don't even involve you. Read.
For more things are shewed unto thee than men understand.
Read.
For many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
Read that again.
For many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
Read.
And an evil suspicion had overthrown their judgment.
That's what happens in Israel. An evil suspicion has overthrown your judgment. Understand that, man. All praises to the Most High. Give me Jeremiah 9 and 23 right quick. All praises to the Most High, man. I thank the Most High, because a lot of times you don't know the Spirit put the class together, and the Spirit bring the class out.
The book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 9 and verse 23. Thus said the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom.
Let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, because guess what? You only got that wisdom because of the Most High. You got that wisdom because you was humble. So when you start to glory in it, that's when your pride take over. Read.
Neither let the mighty man glory in his might.
Uh-huh.
Let not the rich man glory in his riches.
Read.
But let him that glorieth.
But if you want to glorious, read.
Glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me.
That he what?
That he understandeth and knoweth me.
Glory in that. Glory in the fact that you understand the scriptures and that you know the Most High, man. Because it's the only way you can know him is if you're keeping his commandments. Read.
That I am the Lord,
which
exercise loving kindness, judgment,
Read.
and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, said the Lord.
For in these things I what?
I delight, said the Lord.
Understand. Dwell in what the Lord delights in. And don't become a lover of yourself. Read.
Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised.
Read that again.
Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised.
So all y'all understand that circumcision is keeping the laws of God. And the uncircumcised are those that are still dwelling in the world, not keeping his law. He said he's gonna punish all those who are circumcised with the uncircumcised, those who are keeping the laws of the world. He gonna punish them. So understand what it takes for Israel to come together and do what thus says the Lord, all together as one, man. Give me 2nd Esdras 8:50. Let's deal with that. No. Get 2nd Esdras 8:50.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 8 and verse 50.
Read.
For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world. Because they have walked in great pride.
In what?
In great pride.
Hey, man, a lot of our people gonna die because they won't let their pride go. In the latter times, that's right now, man. A lot of y'all, if y'all don't get this pride off y'all, I'm gonna toss you in the lake of fire, butt naked.
That's right. That's right.
That's what's gonna happen. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.